This is Kelly Hartman with BIOS. We're going to get started here in just a couple moments. We're waiting for a few more people. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's Kelly again. We're just waiting for a couple more minutes. So we got a few more people signing on right now as we're speaking. So about 2 more minutes. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our AP Automation presentation today. My name is Kelly Hartman, and I'll be doing the presentation. I will ask that if you have questions, please feel free to type them into the chat area, and I will get to them as I can throughout the presentation. So first, again, I'd like to welcome everybody for the AP Automation. If you're not here for that, stick around because I think you'll find this enjoyable regardless. So a little bit about who BIOS is. So who are we? We were actually 75 years in the Service Bureau business. We were founded in 1939, and we are the oldest conversion service bureau within the country. We have installations across the country. We have hundreds of those. We have AP, human resources, proof of delivery, just to mention a few of them. And again, we do have clients across the country. Our experience is within most all industries and departments, and it's not unusual for us to start in one department or application and then quickly expand beyond that initial installation. Our innovation comes from our experience and our expertise. Throughout the presentation, you might want to think to yourself, what are your specific pain points, not only within AP, but perhaps within other process areas within your particular environment. These are some of our most recent AP automation implementations. We have some down in Dallas, Texas. We have some down in the Carolinas, California, et cetera. So while we are here in Buffalo, New York, we do extend across the country. We are what we like to say software and hardware agnostic. We carry several options so that we can best fit a solution to your needs and not fit you to a solution. Again, my name is Kelly Hartman. I am the project manager here at Beals. Joined in the room with me today is also Dennis Kempner. He is our president. We are both members of the Association for Information and Image Management. It is a national association called AIM. I've personally worked with the AP departments from various companies, including here locally, Delaware North, New Era Cap, Amphenol Aerospace, as well as I've helped to complete all of our current AP automation implementations, including Reed Petroleum, the Buffalo Bills, Kawicki Manufacturing, and most recently, as I previously mentioned, Borden Dairy down in Dallas, Texas. Regarding your AP process automation, your pain points right now without the automation component thereof, how many people do you currently have performing data entry within your AP department? How do you manage the accuracy of what is currently being keyed in? Is your current AP process efficient, and are you able to take advantage of prompt paid discounts, or are you missing some of those? And can you easily locate your payables and corresponding documentation when it's required for any inquiries or callbacks? And how can the automation help address these? With the OCR technology, you no longer are required to manually key in every element from an invoice. Using rules and OCR confidence levels, you can control what is or is not acceptable while doing the data entry or the OCR process. Via workflows, you can quickly route invoices for approval. And with this level of automation, you can capitalize on early pay discounts. And you now have one location at your fingertips where you can store and retrieve all of your documents. The proof is in the numbers. Yes, it takes time and money investment to automate your AP process, and 50% of all companies in the United States don't take advantage of this process. But what most companies don't realize is that ROIs can be as quick as 12 months. You can have your cost and time-saving AP automation system up and running in as little as 90 days. Through our discovery process, we detail every step of your current AP process, and we then show you a way to save time and money by streamlining the process. We can normally reduce your data entry by 75% while increasing the accuracy. Some of the capabilities of AP automation. Invoices aren't just in paper format anymore. They arrive from many different sources. As you know, they're EDI payments, and many invoices now come as attachments within your emails. We can accept all of these types. You'd be surprised how many people actually get an email attachment printed out just to scan it in again. You don't need to do that. Through OCR technology, what we call classification, recognizing from one vendor to the next, and ODBC calls to existing databases, all of these contribute to this automation. Workflow components, they complete and complement this entire process from the receipt of the invoice to approvals to managing exceptions and to front-ending your ERP system. This is a look at an ROI that was actually taken from the AIM studies. It shows a client who averaged 3,000 invoices per month. These invoices were of varying page lengths. They entered in demographic data of the invoice, such as invoice number, PO number, date, and total amount, as well as the line item detail of each invoice. The cost to do so is $11.60 per invoice. You can have a 50% savings, and this is on average, by automating this AP process, which would bring that $11.60 down to $50.80 per invoice. That would afford you a monthly savings of approximately $17,000 with an annual savings of approximately $200,000. I had mentioned previously about a discovery. This is just a sample of one of our worksheets, or it's actually a component off of one of our worksheets that we can walk through with you as part of our discovery process and assist you in completing them. Or you can start out by completing them yourselves, and then Beals is happy to, again, assist you in completing them beyond that. You know, there's questions on here such as maybe you hadn't thought about lost or misplaced invoices, duplicate invoice payments, incorrect quantities or costs, late payment resolutions, and vendor calls and vendor callbacks. To continue the ROI discovery, you want to take a look at how long it takes to handle a callback. What's the length of time that it takes to retrieve your documents and any backup documentation? All of this is looked at as part of our discovery and is applied to automating your AP process. Now, on the last slide here, just to tell you about a couple of things that Beals can offer for you. We have several different solutions, not only the AP automation that you're on here today, but we also automate your data entry through many OCR technology processes. We have cloud or premise-based solutions. I mentioned consulting or our discovery phase. We handle document conversion of scanning paper documents to digital images. Again, we are the oldest service bureau in the United States. We have e-form solutions. How many of you fill out a PDF only to manually key enter it into a repository of some type? HR onboarding. How about the capability of accessing your documents not only at your fingertips from your desktop, but from your iPhones or your iPads? We have solutions that work with not only the iOS, but also the Android. And then we have an implementation of, throughout our state university systems, of travel requests, resulting with an expense report and through the vouchering process. And then ultimately, what everybody wants is the paperless office. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to show you a couple quick demos. If we have any questions, again, feel free. At the end, we'll have time for more questions. So for the first demonstration, just a real quick repository, document repository that is our cloud solution. As with all of our repositories, we all have different levels of logging in. So we can use your Active Directory, or we can maintain a separate level of security. So as with all of them, however, security is always important. We always have to first enter in our user IDs, or if using Active Directory, we would automatically be logged into the system. And then once within our repository, it dictates what applications we have access to. If I logged in as an HR user, I would not see accounts payable. I would see my human resources. We can go out and initiate a query. And within our query, of course, probably the most common query would be go out and input an invoice number. We have a question on a specific invoice. And so upon entering that value, we can go out and do a search. And then brought back to me again at my fingertips. And this is a cloud-based solution that we have here. The first thing that comes up, because our query met one document within our repository, the invoice is automatically brought back to us. We can view the information that we're looking for. We could put a rubber stamp on it that says it was approved by the current user, and I can stamp my document, say approved by, with my username and the system date. So just real quick, just to give you an idea of how through the entire process, we could have easily, through the OCR process, gone through and data entered all these fields through the OCR process, and then automatically uploaded them through a migration up into our repository, as well as in that same migration front-ended your ERP system or any other ODBC compliant component that you may have. Just to show you a little bit how we extracted that data, to show you one of the products that we have here at Beals. I'm now going to go in and open up one of our data capture products and just show you two different types of extraction that we can do. We have the capability, again, to do both demographic data and line item detail. So as this is loading up, this can be a client server-based component, and it has the capability to run unattended in the background unless there is an exception to any of our rules that we've set up. So the first part, of course, would be to capture. And again, while I am running this, you're watching this happen, what you're going to see would normally happen in the background. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to show you how we bring the data into the system. So I'm going to go out, grab one of my documents, and tell it to import it into the system. And again, this is an auto import capability. The auto import can be on a time delay. It can be whenever an image type hits a specific shared directory. It can be at any point in time or as soon as it hits. So now I've ingested 15 documents in. These are 15 different vendors. And the first part of the process would be go through and what we do is we call it a classification. We classify what the document or the vendor is. So based upon using perhaps your master vendor file, we can do a full text OCR, which is what it's doing now, extract off of the document a telephone number, match that against your master vendor file, and then propagate any type of fields or index values out of your master vendor file. Not only does it allow us to identify the vendor, it then, through the classification phase, allows us to know exactly where to go to on each different vendor's invoice and extract the data. You can see already here, it knew, because this was a U.S. air conditioning document, that it knew where to pull not only the demographic data, but where to pull the line item data. It goes through its auto-indexing procedure, and then the last end result was all of this information was OCR'd and then propagated into the appropriate fields for all 15 invoices that I just ran through the system. Now, while you sat there and watched that happen, what you should have been thinking at this point, or what you should be thinking at this point is, how long would that have taken my current data entry staff to manually key, and how accurate would the data be? And at this point in time, I can come in and I can select any one of these values, and you can see over here in this area, I can zoom in on that for a little bit, it is showing you where it pulled the data from. And again, if you want to come down here, you can see it's done a great job of extracting all of this data. As I do a hover over the particular field, it shows you the line item detail that was taken off. You'll note on this particular invoice, it can extract multiple lines of detail. It can also extract from the last page of an invoice. We all know all invoices aren't on a single page. We can classify the first page and the last page of an invoice, pulling the total from the last page, demographic data from the first page, and all the line item detail in between. And then one other piece of this that I wanted to show you is that now while that ran through, you didn't get to see any of the validation pieces of it. So what I wanted to show you on this particular batch, which I had previously started, is different ways that, let's say it didn't go through perfect, and you wanted to see the different ways that it could come in and you could interact with the software, and it didn't read this right. Well, how quick and easy is it for me to go in and grab that data? So again, it's going to attempt to do a full text OCR, and it knew through the classification for PVF here where to pull the data from. When it's done, it's going to come back and it's going to show me each individual invoice, and in the document index fields area here, I can interact with my document and the software to propagate any fields that perhaps didn't meet my rules that I had set up. Perhaps it's a date field and I want to manually key it every time because it's a sensitive date or an amount. Again, we're not just talking the capability of using the software with accounts payable, but with any application where you have data collection. So while it read all of these in, what I wanted to show you here, if I was to delete this data out, supposing that it wasn't able to read this invoice number for any reason, maybe it was a bad quality image, I have the capability, and I'm not even clicking at this point, I'm simply placing my cursor over an area. You'll see that it automatically pulled the data, and with one click, it automatically filled that data in to my invoice number field. Regarding date, I have the capability of having a flyout calendar come up. So, and then of course you can always do a manual key entry if you want to, or again, I can come over here, do the hover help, fills it in, and takes me on to the next field. So again, that's just another way, or one of the ways that we can automate, in this case, your AP process by recognize who the invoice is from by vendor. That we then teach the software where to go to pull the pertinent data from each individual invoice. And then the final result, if we're using workflow, as this gets propagated into your document management system, we have the capability to automatically route those documents for approvals. If there are exceptions, we can automatically route them to specific end users. You can get text notifications when you have an action within your workflow. You can get email notifications when you have an action in your workflow. And then ultimately, it will front end your ERP system for final payment. So that concludes the demonstration piece of it. Let me see if I have any questions out here. I do have one question. How do we know that OCR will work correctly on our invoices? As I had previously mentioned out there, through rules, we set up validation rules on specific fields. It has to be numeric. It can be alphanumeric. We can compare two different total fields. You know, the invoice total must match the sum of the line item detail. We also have an OCR accuracy. So when the OCR engine OCRs a particular zone, it sets a confidence level on it. And we can just, at that point in time, say, okay, if it's 80% confident, we're going to let it go through. If it's anything less than 80% confident, we want to bring it back to the verification operator so that they can look at it and appropriately adjust if necessary. We have a couple more. Let's see. We have about 1,000 invoices a month. Can we still justify AP automation? Absolutely. The justification isn't so much geared towards the number of invoices a month, but your inherent process and how many people you currently have data entering and the time that it takes to do that process. So whether you have 500 or you have 3,000 or more, you need to take a look at your current process, the number of people that it takes to accomplish that process, as well as the time. Okay, let me see. I'm interested, what is the next step? The next step right here, over here, you can contact me, Kelly Hartman. This is my direct line as well as my email. If you have any questions regarding this, please feel free to reach out to me. I am the project manager here. I am in charge of any of the software implementations that go through, and I can point you to the appropriate area manager who can then reach back out to you and assist you with any questions you may have. All right, do I have any other questions? All right, looks like that's it for the questions. Please feel free to reach out to us. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I hope that you found this time informative. Thank you very much, and have a great day.